From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Okay, here we go. Board to reconvene. Good afternoon, Kern County and colleagues and staff. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scribner.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here, thank you so much. And County Council, will you please report on action taken in closed session?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Items number 34 and 35 were continued until August 25th, and items 36 and 37 were heard, but there is no reportable action.
Thank you, Ms. Razan. As mentioned during our 9 o'clock board session, the County of Kern has previously and consistently provided notice that as a result of the declared federal, state, and local emergencies due to the COVID-19 pandemic and in light of the governor's order, this Board of Supervisors meeting is not physically open to the public. Testimony and general public comment could be given through email or telephone to the clerk of the board prior to today's meeting. We will begin by considering the consent agenda. All items listed with a capital C, capital A are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion if no member of the board or public wishes to comment or ask questions. If a member of the audience wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item or items on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken on consent. A member of the board may remove an item from consent and it will be considered in its listed sequence, with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. A member of the public may also comment on any closed session item. Consent matters begin on page 2, and they include item 3. On page 3, item 6, item 5 has been pulled from consent to be heard in its normal sequence. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? Item 5, okay. On page 4, item 7 has been withdrawn by the applicant and will not be considered today. Items 8 through 10 remain on consent. On page 5, items 11 through 14. On page 6, items 15 through 19. On page 7, items 20 through 26. On page 8, items 27 through 31. Item 33 has been withdrawn and will not be considered today. Items 34 and 35 remain on consent unless otherwise noted by a supervisor. With that said, colleagues, do you have any issues with our consent matter?
We have some additional items on consent, items 36 through 41.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought and on page 9, items 36 through 41.
That is correct.
That's
And
why you're the boss. Thank you.
Madam Chair, we do have one voice message from a constituent who would like to address the board before item 26 is approved.
Okay.
So we'll hear that now.
Okay, thank you.
Jason Hester, JASONHESTER. To the Board of Supervisors, through the Chair, we are calling about item 26 on the 2 p.m. consent agenda. Item 26, a proposed master agreement with Granicus, LLC, containing non-standard terms and conditions for automated email subscription services from September 12, 2020 through September 11, 2021 in an amount not to exceed $50,774. Fiscal impact $50,774. General fund budgeted discretionary. I'm requesting this matter to be continued to a future date so that our company, Spectre Software, can review and bid on this work. Our company is a local Kern County software company, and we believe we can provide the same service or better for the same money or less. Thank you.
That concludes public comment on the consent agenda.
Okay, great. Mr. Alsup, who is the appropriate person to respond to the inquiry as just provided by voicemail.
I'll ask Mr. Zervis.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Mr. Zervis, good afternoon. Good to see you again.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. This item, number 26 on your agenda, the county currently is under a contract with a company called Gov Delivery for these services. That contract, the initial term ran out, but it auto-renewed for a period of 1 year. Granicus, it replaces Gov Delivery. They've been acquired by Granicus. So this agreement is simply replacing an existing agreement that we already have in place to reflect that change in the company structure. It is the county's intent that this is a 1 year agreement, and prior to the expiration of this agreement, we do intend on going out with an RFP, and the constituent in question, we can contact them and let them know so that they can bid when that process opens up.
Very good. So it doesn't sound like it's possible to make any changes at this time.
No, it's not, because we're currently under contract with the prior company.
Right. It requires breaking that contract.
Correct.
Okay, well, you understand why the caller may have been confused. It would be wonderful to reach out and give them a sense of the process so they can compete fairly and understand where we are in that process.
We'd be happy to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Service. Appreciate it very much. Do we have any other comments or inquiries on consent, Kathy?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask then my colleagues for action on consent, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Please cast your votes.
Excuse me, the motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you so very much. We're going to move to board member announcements and reports. And I want to thank Supervisor Maggard for reminding me during closed session that we are celebrating 100 years of the 19th Amendment, providing women the right to vote. I look around this room, I see several women department heads, Director Oviatt, Kathy, of course, our county council. There are many others, Pam Singh at the public defender, Cindy Zimmer at the district attorney. The list goes on and on of fabulous women who are in positions of influence and authority in this community. We know we have many people to thank for that, and certainly the celebration and achievement of 100 years ago is worth noting and celebrating. So, Supervisor Maggard, thank you. Appreciate that reminder, and it's wonderful to celebrate such achievements, such human achievements, as complex as they are. Gentlemen, any comments? Okay, but on board member announcements? Public presentations, okay. My mistake. Okay, so before we finish board member announcements and reports, I'm going to go back to public presentations. So Kathy, what do we have?
We actually have 3 speakers who are ready to address your board. The first speaker is Gilbert Tarr. Mr. Tarr, if you will unmute your phone by pressing *6, you have 2 minutes to address the board. Mr. Tarr, currently your phone is muted. If you have to unmute it yourself, you need to press *6, and your phone will be unmuted, and then you'll be able to address the board. Okay, he's not able to unmute his phone at this time, so let's go to our next speaker. We have Derek Hoffman, who is on the line. Mr. Hoffman, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you have 2 minutes to address the board.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Thank you, and good afternoon to you.
Thank you. My name is Derek Hoffman, and I'm an attorney with Gresham Savage in San Bernardino. I represent Meadowbrook Dairy, which is a family-owned farming operation in the Indian Wells Valley, which began in San Bernardino around 100 years ago. Kern County, as you may know, is a member of a JPA called the Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority, which has been tasked to manage that groundwater basin. The Groundwater Authority is, unfortunately, and under the direction of Kern County, driving the basin into extreme and unnecessary controversy. The GA adopted a groundwater sustainability plan in January that is flawed, incomplete, and inconsistent with signal law and the California Department of Water Resources regulations. It has drawn legitimate and extensive criticism from local, regional, and statewide stakeholders who have identified many flaws, critical data gaps, and bias and extreme groundwater management actions in the plan. The plan has not even been reviewed or approved by DWR and won't be for at least a year. The core concept of the plan is to protect the United States Navy at any and all costs. The Groundwater Authority has been properly determined, as though it were a court of law, that the entire basin groundwater supply belongs to the Navy. Whatever the Navy doesn't need goes to a select few pumpers anointed by the Groundwater Authority who are not required to reduce their pumping at all and are conveniently exempted from paying excessive pumping fees to buy imported water. This is all based on an unfounded and false legal theory that an unestablished Navy water right claim can be pumped by non-Navy pumpers not even located on the base. Even the Groundwater Authority Council admits that this is at best an open question of law. At the same time, the Groundwater Authority is now using that same legal fallacy to force fallow farmers like my client by expiring their pumping and forcing them to pay fees in excess of $2,200 per acre foot to buy an undefined, unidentified imported water supply for all of their pumping if they desire to remain in operation. The forced fouling program and $2,200 imported water pump fee is expressly designed to put agricultural entities out of business. Meanwhile, DWR has not even reviewed or approved the GSP. The reason I'm here before you today is because the Groundwater Authority will consider and vote on the fouling program and the $2,200 pump fee this Friday, August 21. The fee is opposed by Searles Valley Minerals, agricultural interests, business owners, thousands of property owners, the Economic Development Corporation, and the Indian Wells Valley Water District, which is a member of the JPA. The authority has already entered into tolling agreements to delay lawsuits challenging its actions. So I'm here today, and in closing, to respectfully urge this board to direct its representative on the Groundwater Authority to turn away from these programs, vote them no, and should instead complete a proper and vetted GSP and take measured, fiscally responsible actions to manage groundwater in the Indian Wells Valley Basin, working with rather than against major stakeholders. I'll provide a copy of a written letter to you this week, directed to the Groundwater Authority, but also with a copy to you. And I also just please ask that you thoughtfully review and consider those comments. And I do appreciate your time today. Thank you for listening and making available this public comment opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Who else do we have, Kathy?
We have Joshua Nugent. Mr. Nugent, if you would go ahead and unmute your phone by pressing *6. You have 2 minutes to address the board.
Okay, can you hear me?
We sure can. Welcome.
Thank you for your time. So to the Kern County Board of Supervisors through the chair, this is Joshua Nugent on behalf of Mojave Pistachios. We offer these comments on the proposed replenishment fee being considered later this week by the Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority. The authority's board, which Kern County is a member of, is about to take a vote that could harm everyone in the Indian Wells Valley who uses groundwater. We therefore urge Kern County to rethink its support of this fee that would require farmers and other water users to pay $2,130 per acre foot of groundwater used, a sum that is vastly more expensive than any other fee adopted or proposed by any GSA across the state. This should concern all interested stakeholders, including farmers throughout the entire county, including those in the Central Valley, due to the unprecedented nature of this fee. The fee will be also very expensive to the Indian Wells Valley District ratepayers. At over $2,000 per acre foot of water, the fee will be unfairly shouldered by the citizens of Ridgecrest, local ag producers, and family farms. This fee has been opposed or requested to be delayed by almost every public and private group, including the Realtors, Economic Development Committees, Searles Valley Minerals, the Brackish Water Group, and the Indian Wells Valley Water District, who you just heard is a member of the Groundwater Authority. The IWVGA board must reject the adoption of this fee and work with all stakeholders to craft a fee that is legally compliant with Proposition 218, transparent, clearly defined, with a proper chance for feedback from the public, and that properly spreads the burden of shortage across all water users in the basin. A solution can be gained through good faith and full participation of all stakeholders. A written letter will follow to further our comments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nugent. Do we have anybody else, Kathy?
I'd like to go back and see if we can get Gilbert Tarr on the line. Mr. Tarr, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you can address the board. He's not, Madam Chair, I can see the number, and it looks like he's not able to unmute his phone. So if I notice during the meeting that his phone is unmuted and we have an opportunity, we will reach out to him.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Does that bring us to the end of public presentations?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so we'll retake up item number 2, which is board member announcements or reports. Colleagues, anything? Okay, we're going to move on then to item number 32 under our CAO number 4. Item number 4, rough afternoon here. Stay with me. Number 4 is a request of, I hope I'm saying this right, Vicus Guy by WZI Inc. to change the permitted uses from limited agriculture to neighborhood commercial with precise development combining for construction of a mini storage facility on 13.17 acres located on the west side of Piedmont Avenue, approximately 200 feet southwest of the intersection of Paddock Place and Hageman Road in an unincorporated Bakersfield area, Supervisorial District 1. Ms. Oviatt, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm here today with Craig Murphy, Assistant Director. As noted, this is a zone change to C1 Neighborhood Commercial with the precise development PD overlay and a conditional use permit to allow the construction of a mini warehouse for storage of household goods with no outside storage. As noted, it is currently zoned for limited agricultural use, which allows for residences. The location of the site has the following surrounding uses: residential neighborhood to the east, the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad tracks to the west. We have industrially zoned property to the south and north, which begins the city limits of the city of Bakersfield. This site has been the subject of a planning process in 2018 for a pre-annexation application into the city of Bakersfield, changes to the property to permit an apartment complex. Project was denied by the Planning Commission and the City Council. We now have this application in front of us here at the county, and staff has reviewed the property and believes that this particular piece of property has unique challenges. The BNSF railroad line is an active transportation corridor for freight nationwide, and it makes it inappropriate for residential use due to noise and health impacts. Even with a sound wall, the train vibration and noise would be an issue for residential homes. Farming the site, although allowed by the zoning, would also not be viable to use of water and impacts on the neighbors as well, as the only current access for the site is through Piedmont Avenue, which serves the adjacent residential neighborhood. The request for this particular land use for construction and operation of this mini storage appears to be a use, if appropriately conditioned, that would permit the property owner economic use of this unusual piece of property. The Planning Commission considered this matter on July 9th, 2020. Throughout this process, staff has received comments from neighboring residents that raised very important concerns. Staff has continued to review the project conditions to address these concerns, as well as ensure the project is managed in a responsible manner. The primary issue has been the access through the residential neighborhood. Working with Public Works and the City of Bakersfield, and if we could quickly go back to the aerial, as well as reviewing the property to the north, staff has determined that the access should be from Hageman Road. So where Mr. Murphy is pointing, from that area begins the City of Bakersfield boundaries. So that adjacent property is actually in the City of Bakersfield. And he would be, this would involve the applicant obtaining either a public or private easement through that industrial property, coordinating with the City of Bakersfield on implementation of improvements for the connection to Hageman. I also want to note that this property is encumbered by a drainage sump that is a county drainage sump that also makes it uniquely challenging in regards to design. An addendum with this revised site plan, so this is the site plan that is before your board for consideration today, has been provided to you. And this change would also require that the office caretaker structure be moved from the Piedmont location to the new Hageman access. In that addendum, we have also recommended additional conditions to address concerns about site security. So the residential neighbors have raised a number of concerns that they believe this presents a new opportunity for criminal activity as a mini storage. Although your board routinely does not impose security requirements on businesses, since we leave that to be a business decision, there are instances where we believe as staff we should be sensitive to these concerns of adjacent property owners. Therefore, in your staff addendum, there is a new condition of approval 5R that reads, prior to issuance of final occupancy, the project proponent shall install an internal security system that can alert law enforcement or private security to illegal activities. This security system shall monitor the internal boundaries of the facility and gates, and at a minimum be activated during hours the facility is not open to the public. Appropriate signage indicating that the facility is monitored shall be posted along the fence lines adjacent to residential properties. As noted, we have provided you with all the conditions. One of the questions that had been raised at the Planning Commission was in regards to what hours this project would be open. And if Mr. Murphy can verify for me the actual hours of operation.
The project proponent originally proposed the hours to be open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. During the Planning Commission consideration of the project, staff had happened to look that most other storage facilities in the area are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So that was mentioned to the Planning Commissioners, and then the Planning Commissioners, as part of their recommendation to you, specified that the facility should be open from the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So that is the hours that is being presented to you today from the Planning Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. So unlike certain storage, not normally here in Bakersfield and in other areas, where you're given a key card and you can go in at any time, this particular facility means that you must show up by that 7 in the evening in order to access your belongings. Past those hours, there would be no access to the facility. While there is a caretaker, a caretaker structure, residence, that's being proposed along with the office, someone may or may not be on the site. So that is why we're proposing these mandated security system to ensure that if something happens to that facility, that law enforcement or private security is called right away. Staff believes that all the required compatibility findings can be made to authorize the use of the facility as proposed, as long as we have the recommended conditions. An example of improvements that this project will bring to the area, there are no sidewalks along Piedmont Avenue adjacent to the project site. Even though they will not be taking access along Piedmont, the project applicant will still be required to construct sidewalks along that portion adjacent to the facility, completing those road improvements for that neighborhood. The project site is subject to the standard dark sky ordinance. Any lighting will be shielded and directed away from adjacent properties. And once again, we do not believe that residential development, even large lot with animals, is appropriate for the best use of this property. This facility would actually act as a buffer between the railroad and the adjacent residential community and reduce some of the noise from that railroad. Property directly north of the site is industrially zoned by the City of Bakersfield, and this is actually an extension of that and help to ensure that all commercial access for the City of Bakersfield's industrially zoned property would also come from Hageman. This actual recommendation and action that you're taking includes a requirement that the zoning approval not become effective until the public or private easement to the site from Hageman Road is recorded. Without the zoning being effective, in other words, without that easement being acquired and recorded, no grading or other activities can occur under this conditional use permit. Nothing can be implemented or built until that access from Hageman is actually acquired. So the recommendation is slightly revised. It is in your addendum. And the recommendation is adopt resolution, recommended findings, and enact ordinance approving zone change not to become effective until the recordation of public or private access easement to the site from Hageman Road. Adopt resolution and findings approving conditional use permits, subject to recommended revised conditions of approval. That ends my presentation. The applicant's representative, Richard Wilson of WZI, is on the line to represent the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you know, does the applicant have a separate presentation they'd like to make, Director?
Mr. Wilson is on the line from WZI. You can
It may
send
not
that
be
question to him.
It may not be necessary. I was just wondering if they were teed up and ready to go on that. If not, I'm just going to take public presentation. If we have input, or Collins, they can certainly provide any input that they would like at this time. But do we have members of the public that would like to weigh in on this issue?
We do. So would you like to hear from the public first and then hear from the applicant's representative?
How many members of the public do we have?
I just had a couple more chime in. Right now I have 3. Actually, just 2 at this point. I've got a couple others who are in favor of the project that may or may not speak.
Okay, but you have speakers who would like to speak in opposition?
Actually, there is someone who provided comment, email comment. You have that in your addendum, Cindy McBride, and she signed up to speak. I'm going to allow her the opportunity to speak, but she also said that she might not speak.
Okay.
So at this time, Mrs. McBride, if you would like to address the board, you would need to unmute your phone by pressing *6 to make your comments.
Are you there, Ms. McBride? Okay, who else do we have, Kathy?
Oh,
Excuse me,
If I
Director
may,
Ovia?
to the chair, we have attached the emails that have been submitted to us. You will notice that most of them say, if we have access from Hageman, our concerns are resolved. We may not completely like this project, but our most important issue is the access from Hageman. So there may be people who want to speak. I'm not sure that it's an opposition.
Okay.
They have concerns that representations by the applicant through this process have been changed by the applicant, and so they're not completely clear. And so we are today being clear. The County of Kern is imposing these conditions. It is not up to the applicant to decide one way or the other what they would like to do. And we have put this requirement on that says, you do not have an approval, you have an approval for your zone change, but you cannot start your project until you get that easement. If Dr. Guy never gets the easement, there will never be a mini storage. And I'm saying that for the benefit of Mr. Murphy has spent a lot of time with the neighborhood. I know they appreciate the outreach, but I think they are concerned that Mr. Guy's representation has been confusing for them.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you.
helpful, thank you.
And I am aware that Cindy McBride is not currently signed up to speak. So
I see.
there was one other resident who wanted to provide comment. He was having trouble with his cell service, but I would like to read the comment that he sent to our office. His name is Michael Trivet, and he wants the board to know that he is opposed to this project, as when he Googled storage facilities near him, there are 13 storage facilities within 5 miles of his house. He doesn't understand why another one is needed a half mile from his home. That's his
Okay.
comment.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we have any other written or live testimony to provide?
None, no, we don't. So
Okay.
at this time, if you would like to hear from Richard Wilson, we'll call him up.
Sure.
Okay.
Mr. Wilson, he will provide the applicant's closing remarks, if you will.
Exactly. Mr.
Okay.
Wilson represents the applicant. Mr. Wilson, if you would like to unmute your phone by pressing *6, feel free to address the board.
Good afternoon. This is Richard Wilson, Wilson, from WZI Inc. On behalf of Dr. Guy and this project. I'd like to thank the planning department for the work they've done on this. I think this is the best use we're going to get for this oddly shaped and oddly situated parcel. I think we've done the work they've asked to put the entrance where it needs to be and alleviate as many of the concerns as we can from the neighborhood and hopefully get a beneficial use from this piece of land. We are in receipt of the addendum. We got that just before the hearing, and we agree that the additional condition for the security system is not going to be a problem, and we will implement the conditions as required, and we respectfully request that the Board of Supervisors approve the project.
Thank you, sir, for your time and your input on this matter. I'm going to close the public hearing and return to the board. I don't see any of my colleagues punched in. Supervisor Gleason.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is District 1, and I got a couple questions for you, Lorelei. Great job. Craig, thank you very much for your diligence in helping with the public and creating that buy-in or that agreement. At least that understanding is so critical to these types of things. I think the main issue is access. I think you have solved that issue. I think nothing goes on until they acquire and build the access from Hageman. And so that's a done deal, and that issue goes away. The other issue that I thought was a major issue for most people was security. I think you've done a good job mitigating that because you control the hours from 7 to 7, and it's in lock, it's going to be locked, and there's adequate security. Do you agree with that?
Supervisor Gleason, through the chair, we do believe that this is a very tightly written conditions for this particular project.
Okay. Thanks. And I'm going to make a motion on staff's recommendation.
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason. We have a second by Supervisor Couch. Not seeing other desired input, please cast your votes, gentlemen.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay. Thank you, Director. I'm going to move to item number 5, which is a request of Zerker LLC by Cornerstone Engineering to change the permitted uses from exclusive agriculture to general commercial with precise development combining for construction of a convenience market, an auto service station with canopy, a fast food restaurant, and shopping center on 17.82 acres located on the southeast corner of 7 Standard Road and Zerker Road intersection, Bakersfield, Supervisorial District 1 again.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Subsequent to the Planning Commission hearing on July 9th, 2020, we did receive, and after we submitted our staff report, we received a letter from Sierra Club outlining some concerns as well as some requests of the project applicant and the county. Therefore, we are asking for a continuance to September 1st, 2020 so that we can evaluate and review the concerns and proposals raised in the comment letter. So the recommendation is continue to September 1st, 2020.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Thank you. I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Please cast your votes for a continuance.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you very much, Director. We'll hear back on that item when it's back on the agenda. I understand a gentleman that wanted to be heard during public presentations is now available. We certainly want to take his input, so we will return to that item on the agenda, public presentations, and take that testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Gilbert Tarr, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you have 2 minutes to address the board under public presentations.
Hello, I am Gilbert Tarr. I live in Lebec, that is in the Fraser Park community. Before COVID-19, I enjoyed many hours in the Fraser Park Library each week. They had an excellent, knowledgeable staff that would help you. And if you needed any books, any DVDs in the system, they could be ordered. And if you had a problem on one of the computers, you had staff that could help you also. Open the Fraser Park Library. Also, before COVID-19, I had a problem with the local sheriff's office being slow to answer calls and completing reports with details that were needed to be there. says COVID-19, and the local sheriff's office has refused to come out to make a report citing COVID-19. Since the sheriff's deputies are doing less work, I suggest they get the offending deputies get less pay, cut in pay, in which money saved would go to work in the Kern County library system. Cutting $1 million from the fire department and the sheriff's department budget and giving it to the library would help all people in Kern County. Last but not least, I have contacted the supervisor's office, the county roads department, and the public works department. I have been unable to get them to clean up easement on Lebec Road. I've been unable to get a sign put up for Lebec Road and Ridgecroft Drive. The past 5 weeks I'm cold. I've taken a map. I've taken them a picture of the problem, and I've called them every day. My road is narrowed to 9 feet 2 inches, Ridgecroft Drive.
Mr. Tar, I'm so sorry. I have to ask you to bring your comments to a close, please. We're almost a minute over. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so the easement is 60 feet wide. Please do something. They have a contact number for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your patience with our system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, do we have any other comments under public presentations?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we're going to move then to our final item this afternoon, which is item number 32, under County Administrative Office. Proposed resolution establishing the Kern County Distance Learning Assistance Plan for certain employees with a technology stipend or a child care reimbursement from August 18, 2020 through December 30, 2020. Mr. Alsop, the floor is yours. Oh, I see actually Mr. Brown from your office is at the podium. Welcome. Good afternoon. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. The item before you is a proposed resolution establishing the Kern County Distance Learning Assistance Plan. As you well know, during this pandemic, there's nothing more apparent that we must be nimble and be able to react quickly to ever-changing situations. And this summer, we have been presented with the ongoing debate about what is going to happen with our schools locally and across the nation, and whether they're going to be open for in-person instruction or starting in a distance learning environment. So locally, right now, as you know, most of our schools, if not all of them, are starting in a distance learning environment. And this impacts our workforce very much so and directly. We have thousands of employees working in Kern County and working for Kern County who have school-age children, myself included. So I know firsthand how difficult and challenging this new normal for school is going to be for our workers in the county. We are all going to be asked to be de facto teachers' aides during the next few weeks and potentially even months as our school districts start the new fall terms. So the item before you is our effort to help our employees during this difficult time, challenging time. It's built on data that we received from an assessment that took place early on in July of our workforce. If you think back to last spring when schools were closed during the very beginning of the pandemic, many of our workforce were at home with their children during that period of time. Roughly 84% of our workforce that responded to our assessment who are working parents were at home and able to care for their children during that period of time. And so that presented them with the ability, we looked at that data and built a plan that's before you today that reflects the reality of that situation. We also assessed our workforce to find out if your schools do start in the distance learning, how would you best like to be accommodated to help your students, your children, get through this time and be able to still serve the community as members of our workforce? And 70% of them said they would like to continue in that work from home environment where they're able to be at home with their children, supervise their work, and also complete their work and their daily duties for the county departments that they serve. And so we put together this plan largely built on that premise that we wanted to offer as many of our workers in the county the opportunity to work from home during this time period, to be able to supervise their children and still be able to provide valuable services to the county. Now, admittedly, there are several employees in the county that cannot provide the services that they provide at home. It's just not possible. And I think about our jails, our deputies on the street, our firefighters who are out on the fire lines. It's just not feasible for them in their work to do that. And so we're also trying to take that into account as well. So we prepared a plan that includes a technology stipend for those employees who are at home using their own technology to help the county provide services, gives them the flexibility to be with their children and help them through the first part of their school year in that distance learning environment. The technology stipend proposed is an increase from our current technology stipend of $50 per month to a $75 stipend per month. We found that the increase is well warranted based on the type of equipment and services that our employees and workforce are required to maintain in order to be able to work from home and work in that environment. It also includes a reimbursement of child care expenses for those employees who find themselves unable to work from home because of the duties that they have and the assignments that they have in their various departments. We are proposing a child care reimbursement up to $500 per month. That's consistent with what we've previously had, but we're not including a cap on a per child limit, which we previously had in place. This will give our employees a much needed break when they're looking to provide child care to supervise their school-age children who are at home through no fault of their own and being educated in that distance learning environment. And I'm sure most of our working parents would love to be at home with their children and helping them and work from home if they could. And so in the alternative, this child care reimbursement definitely provides some assistance to those employees and peace of mind if they're able to find child care to help them out. So we are asking our departments, our department heads, our county leadership to be agile, to be flexible with our workforce. This is a difficult and trying time for those working parents. We are asking them to be compassionate and to think of the employee first as a parent and potentially the work second, so that we are able to get through this time together because we are all in this together at this point. So the resolution before you also includes a plan which provides additional technology stipends for those employees who are continuing to work from home just because they are able to in their departments, and they're trying to reduce the spread in their departments by maintaining physically distanced working environments. So that will continue as well. We're glad to bring this before you today to help give our employees peace of mind as they are starting the first weeks of school. In many cases this week, most students started school. I know my students, my children, start next Monday, and we've already got the load of work and the books that they're going to be working on, and it's daunting to be sure. So I certainly am cognizant of the effort that's going to be required of all of our workforce, and we need to be able to be supportive of them during this time. So we're pleased to bring this resolution before you to adopt the Distance Learning Assistance Plan. I do want to take a moment to thank my staff who helped me with this, preparing this plan, and our HR liaisons, human resource liaisons in each and every department who work collaboratively with our office to present this solution before you today, and also our Return to Work Task Force, which is made up of several department heads and assistant department heads who also participated in developing this over the course of the last month. We've been busy working on this for a while, and we're pleased to be able to present this today for final adoption. And finally, I do want to thank our labor partners, specifically SEIU, who put a lot of thought into this as well and helped craft this into the form that it's in before you. And their labor association has approved the plan before you, and we're happy that we were able to collaborate in that regard with them so quickly. And therefore, it is recommended that your board adopt this resolution and refer to the CAO's office to implement the terms of the resolution.
Mr. Brown, thank you so much for thinking about our workforce and the many challenges presented in this unprecedented time. I'm going to ask, are there members of the public that would like to weigh in on this item?
No, ma'am, there are not.
Okay, we do not have public comment at this time. I'm going to ask my colleagues. I don't see anyone punched in. So Supervisor Scribner.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve, and I want to thank everyone who worked so hard on this. I think that it's something that we can do that obviously is going to have expense associated with it, but I think it's important. So thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Scribner and Supervisor Gleason. Seeing no other desire for comment, I'm going to call the vote. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you so much, Devin.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate your thoughtfulness. Okay, this brings us to the end of our afternoon and the agenda for today. Oh, excuse me. This brings us to the end of our agenda for the day. We will be returning on August 25th for budget hearings, and then again on September 1. So we will be seeing each other more frequently in the next few weeks than we're used to. So I don't know if you're happy or sad about that, colleagues. We keep that to yourself, please. So, PM motion to adjourn. Thank you, David. Good luck and stay safe. Remember your masks and distancing.